that brings home how much work we have to do, like, because there are a lot of people who either don't think that it exists or they don't want change and they're fighting against it. And I don't know what these people are scared of or afraid of.
Well, there's quite a lot to pick apart with from what you just said there. There's so much in there. It's you talk about unconscious bias to start with, which we know, you and I both know is a huge thing globally. But yes, it exists in the UK as well. But I think with the Ashley Banjo stuff, Meghan and I spoke to him shortly after that whole process, I guess, or that whole moment in his life and diversity's life. But what was interesting there, from what I was told, was that there was, a couple of thousand complaints that came straight after the performance, but it was 3 days later, or even a week later, that it got up to 20,000. So you kind of start to think, well, how many people actually watched the performance that have complained? Or have they just had their opinion inflamed by what they've read? Because, as we know, the information that is put in front of us, they choose how to deliver it. And it can come with an element of bias, or it can come with a sensationalist headline that just aggravates people. So I guess for the conversation that we had with Ashley, that was a huge part of it. It's like, it was the right decision in the end. Of course it was. But for the amount of complaints that came in, it just proves the point that this discussion needs more talking about. And no one's blaming anybody. That's the way that I look at it. No one's pointing the fingers. But you can't really point the fingers, especially when it comes to unconscious bias. But once you realize, or you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then the onus is on you to go out and educate yourself as much, because ignorance is no longer an excuse. And unconscious bias, from my understanding, having had the upbringing and the education that I had no idea that what it was. I had no idea it existed. And then, sad as it is to say, it took me many, many years to realize it, especially then living a day or a week in my wife's shoes.
For me, it's always a tricky one to try and explain something like this, because, I'm no expert in this field. I can only sort of give my opinions. But I feel like, first of all, you have to be willing to listen and have the conversation, have those uncomfortable conversations, because it is an uncomfortable conversation. And I totally get it, especially for, a white person who wants to be told that they may potentially have a little bit of racism in them, or maybe they've, tell the working class white person that's worked really hard all their life to get where they are, that they've had a leg up. They're not going to have that. Do you know what I mean? And this is where the problem lies. There's a big class thing in here too. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a combination of the two, because it's not only black people who are struggling, or non-white people. There are white people who are struggling, who are in impoverished areas, along with black people, who don't get the opportunities and the chances that others might get. We need to just share this around a little bit more and be a bit fairer and give other people a chance, in society.
Yeah.